Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees for the Village of Woodridge on this Thursday, November 16th, 2023. We call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. and ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Annalise,
Present.
trustee Krusek,
Present.
trustee Page,
Present.
trustee Martinez,
Present.
trustee Blair,
Present.
trustee Kagan,
Present.
Mayor Cunningham.
Present.
Quorum established.
Thank you very much. And this evening, if you would please join us for a moment of silence and also then following immediately the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask our audience who is here this evening with us. We have a very distinguished audience here tonight. I'm going to ask that you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please join us, a moment of silence. And now join us, please, with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thank everyone for being here this evening, and we do have quite a special meeting tonight. So with many awards, recognitions, and presentations. And first, we are here and pleased to have, first of all, some special recognitions, starting with the first item, which is the motion to accept the recommendations of the Intergovernmental Council for our community recognition program for 2023. And each year in Woodridge, we have a wonderful long tradition as leaders in our community, as neighbors, to recognize members in our community, whether they're youth, employees, various governmental bodies throughout Woodridge. We have awards for Business of the Year, Citizen of the Year, and also a Mayor's Spirit Award. So it is my honor and pleasure to submit the following recommendations, to the board for our 2023 Community Recognition Program. For our Citizen of the Year, Jerry Munley, a longtime Woodridge resident, has been named, and we're recommending that name going forward. Here's the following other recommendations. Employees of the Year, Elizabeth Burns, Marcy Clark, Leslie Davies, and Chris Weber. Business of the Year is the Donut Company in Woodridge. Youth Citizens of the Year, Mary P. Buntum, Evan Thames, and Ellen Toohey. Commissioner of the Year, Dennis Weeks. Going to now ask the board, and I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the proposed nominations. A motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Martinez. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Krusek. And I'm going to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, everyone. We also do have, well, first I'd like to congratulate everyone for being nominated and for all the great works that each person has contributed through our village, to our village, and in our village. The significant impacts are wonderful, and we celebrate that each and every year on the first Tuesday of December. And that is Woodridge's own Giving Tuesday. It has a long legacy. So I hope everyone will pay close attention to the event coming up on the first Tuesday of December and know that it's a very special day in Woodridge, and we will be sending more information out as we move towards that date. And now, it's my honor to ask Trustee Antolise to please go to the podium to read a proclamation. And this is a special recognition in honor of our Darien Woodridge Fire District Chief, who is retiring, and he's going to join Jennifer at the podium. Thank you very much, Chief, for being here with you and your family and friends and neighbors.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. It's our honor.
Thank you so much for this. Good evening. Whereas Chief James Karasek has faithfully and enthusiastically served in the fire service for almost 40 years and currently as the Chief of Darien Woodridge Fire District. And whereas Chief James Karasek started his career in the fire service in July of 1984 as part-time employee while pursuing a college degree. He received his associate's in arts degree from Morton College in 1985, then later received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Columbia College in June of 1988. And whereas Chief Karasek became certified as a firefighter, receiving his Firefighter II certificate in July of 1987. He started his full-time career with the Darien Woodridge Fire District April 11th, 1990. Through the first stage of his career, he focused a large amount of his time to training. He started with receiving his paramedic license in June of 1991. He then started rescue classes and joined the area technical rescue team, which specializes in rope rescue, confined space, trench, and building collapse emergencies. The chief then moved on to train hazardous materials and joined that response team after becoming a hazmat technician as well. And whereas Chief was the recipient of a Fire Chiefs Unit Citation Award in 1997, being recognized for his crew's heroic actions at a house explosion in Downers Grove. His unit was one of that initial arriving units, and whereas Chief grew within the department and worked on leadership classes. He received his Fire Officer I certificate in 1997, eventually moving on to Fire Officer II in 2006. These are a group of classes that focus on leadership and tactical strategies to create well-developed officers in the fire service. And whereas in the early 2000s, Chief Karasek then focused his attention to fire prevention and became certified in sprinkler systems, electrical inspections, and plan reviews, certified in 2002. Received the accomplishment of Fire Prevention Officer in 2004, Fire Inspector in 2005, Juvenile Fire Specialist in 2006. All of his training paid off and he became the Fire Prevention Bureau Director in 2013. There's more. Whereas holding every rank within the department, starting as firefighter, Chief Karasek was promoted to lieutenant in 2006, battalion chief in 2016, deputy chief in 2019, and then lastly to fire chief in 2021. As fire chief, he manages 1 deputy chief, 3 battalion chiefs, 6 lieutenants, and 35 firefighters out of 2 fire stations. Now, therefore, Gina Cunningham, mayor of the village of Woodridge, DuPage, Will, and Cook counties, Illinois, by virtue of her office, do hereby declare and proclaim Wednesday, November 22nd through Sunday, November 26th, 2023, as Chief James Karasek Days in the village of Woodridge, and urge all citizens of Woodridge to recognize his exemplary service to others, good works, and outstanding contributions to our community. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the board. Trustees, it was an honor to serve the village of Woodridge and Darien, city of Darien. I'll hold it in my heart forever. So thank you for this recognition.
Thank you so much and congratulations and have a wonderful retirement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Chief, and your family and friends and everyone here. We thank you for your outstanding service and dedication. We thank you so much for being here, and we're happy to recognize you and with gratitude. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We also will have a proclamation that will be in our records for Small Business Saturday, which is November 25th, 2023. And now we have a series of new colleague introductions. So I'm going to ask Director Bethel, please We have someone, Zachary. Hey, Zachary, welcome, Director Buckle.
Thank you, Mayor. Very pleased to introduce our newest maintenance worker, Zach Reinker. He started full-time a short time ago when we had another full-time staff member who left for another municipality. He had a very unique path to getting to this full-time position, though. We actually had an opening for a full-time maintenance worker in November of 2022. Zach had interviewed and made it through multiple rounds of interviews and was one of our finalists, but it was a very competitive pool. And ultimately, he was not selected, but all the supervisors really liked him, thought he was extremely mature. He had great answers, and we saw a lot of potential in him. Now, Zach had another full-time job, and so we gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. We said, how would you like to give up your full-time job and be a seasonal for us? There's no guarantee beyond 1,000 hours, and you'll have to work hard to demonstrate what you can provide to the village. And he took that offer. He said, I want to work here. So he quit a full-time job to come here as a seasonal with no guarantee beyond 1,000 hours. And he worked extremely hard, and we kept him on longer as a seasonal. As he worked with our full-timers, they shared with me, he is a keeper for sure. He really went above and beyond. He asked questions. He soaked up every opportunity he asked to do jobs, just to learn. And it got to the point where we were pretty sure we were going to lose him to another community based on everything he had learned here. He was hungry for full-time employment, and fate would have it that a full-time position opened up. And so Zach's been with us full-time now, just for a short period of time, but we think he's somebody that long-term is going to be just a great addition to the staff. So a little bit about Zach.
Well, welcome, and thank you very much for being here this evening. It's our honor to have you here, and we're very excited to have you on our team. Thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you. Thank you. And Chief Cunningham, some very exciting news for us this evening.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'm pleased to announce or introduce 3 new employees. They're not actually that new. They all started in June. I think one of them started in May. But as our tradition, they finished their training. We want to bring them and introduce them to the community. So 2 of them are CSOs and one's a police officer. I'll have the 2 CSOs come up. 2 CSOs are Peter Moulier and also Todd Cass.
Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome.
And they come as a team. It goes without saying. When these guys got hired, I loved it. Just the difference between them and stuff like that. I always tease them about it, but it goes without saying that our CSOs are the backbone for our patrol division, especially in the last year. We've been shorthanded. I've talked about that before. As far as police officers go, and the CSOs actually respond to so many calls that help the actual patrol function, and it frees up the officers to do the more serious stuff. And these gentlemen here handle all the animal calls, the traffic accidents, neighborhood disputes. I mean, you name it, they go to it and they handle it. And I really, really appreciate it. And I know the officers in the back do appreciate them as well. So I started out with Peter. Peter's a former resident of Woodridge. He lived on the South End. So when he got on board, he was pretty quick as far as the geography went, which was nice. He now resides in Bolingbrook. He went to school at College of DuPage for general studies. He's got a certification in medical assistant from Olympia College. He attended the University of Phoenix and got his criminal justice degree there. Always wanted to be a police officer, but somehow he got tied up in the retail industry and worked in retail for 16 years. Okay, I'm a little bit off. He worked for Steiner Mart stores in Willowbrook, Orland Park, Kildare, and Wheaton. And when I was going through his background, the one thing I noticed, he started out loading trucks. And moved up and became the general manager for the store in Willowbrook. So hard worker, you could tell that from the start. When he was interviewed, within 5 minutes, the interview panel came and said, "You got to hire Peter right away, like right now." He actually came from Romeoville. He was a community service officer there, but worked part-time. I know they were trying to get him full-time, and just like Chris did with his employee, we tried to snatch him up right away, and we did that, and we're very glad to have him. He came highly, highly recommended from Romeoville. And then Todd Cass. Todd has got a lot of experience, which I know is going to help him in his position here at Community Service Officer. He grew up in the Berwyn area. I always like to mention Berwyn. Went to Morton West High School. Morton College, got his degree in criminal justice there. He's had a lot of jobs, which I think kind of makes him well-rounded. He was a laborer for carpenters. He was a manager of a Target store. He was worked at Home Depot. He was auxiliary police officer for Bridgeview and Stickney. He was a dispatcher for West Suburban Consolidated Dispatch, a dispatcher for Bolingbrook, a dispatcher for Northlake, and also a corrections officer most recently at the Kendall County Sheriff's Office. And I think you're going to stay here for a while, right? No more jobs? Okay. Yeah, he's going to stay with us for a while. So I know they have some family here. If you don't mind, if they introduce their family. Peter, you want to introduce your family? Sure, yeah.
My wife Rainey is a nurse of VA Hines. My daughter Olivia. And second daughter Amelia and my son Eden.
There you go. And Todd, I know you got some family here. Do you want to introduce your family?
My father, my brother, uncle, mom, that brother.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I want to thank both families. I know it's a sacrifice on both ends from their perspective and also your perspective. So we really appreciate you sharing your loved ones with us. So do you guys want to say anything? They don't want to say anything. All right, thank you.
We welcome you back.
And now if we can bring up Officer Fabian Pizarro. Everybody stood on this side and you stood on that side. Yeah. All right, this is a special guy. I really, really like him a lot. What's nice about Fabian's hire is he is actually friends with another officer, Tomas Almazan. Tomas here. He's right there with his family. And Tomas convinced him to join the Woodridge Police Department. And Brett Kielbasa, I don't know if Brett's here, is one of our tactical officers, convinced Tomas. So it's kind of tell a friend, and join the Woodridge Police Department, which I love. So Fabian grew up in the Blue Island area. He went to Eisenhower High School. He attended Western Illinois University, got his law enforcement and justice administration degree there. He worked for the city of Blue Island as a part-time police officer. He also worked for as a lead security officer at the Trump Towers in Chicago. And most recently worked for the village of Posen as a police officer. He was detailed to the Chicago Field Division of the DEA for 3 years. He came to us after that assignment. So he's had high-level investigations. I know he's left the country on investigations, some huge investigation. He comes with a lot of experience, and he was willing to kind of take a step back, go back to patrol, and do the traffic accident thing and the traffic stops. And one thing I recognized about Fabian, when he was going through that training, I thought, oh, it's going to be easy for him. But then I started thinking about, he's been a detective for a long time. So a lot of this stuff might be newer for him. And he grabbed it by the horns and just enjoyed the training. Always had a smile on his face, always willing to learn, never acted like he knew it all or anything like that. Very, very humble individual and very well liked by the police department and the community so far. On his background, we learned that he's knowledgeable. He's an excellent communicator, humble, like I said, he's willing to learn. And for all his assignments, he was the go-to person. I've heard that over and over and over again. And in fact, while he's been here, I've been contacted by his former DEA supervisor. He wants him back. I said, you can't have him. He's ours now. So, Fabian. I know Fabian's got some family here. You want to introduce him?
Yeah, I got my wife Christina. Sadiq, that's my best friend's wife, and my goddaughter.
Wonderful.
You want to introduce Tomas, your friend?
Tomas, he was already.
Wonderful. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. And congratulations.
You want to say him? He says he's all good. Thank you very much.
So congratulations to the Village of Woodridge on these outstanding new colleagues or newer colleagues to the village, and especially in our police department and public works. And I know that we have some others that we will be introducing shortly in other areas of our village. It really is an honor, and we welcome you to a fabulous team, just outstanding team of colleagues. So thank you again, and we appreciate everyone being here as family members and neighbors and friends to join us in celebrating each of our new colleagues here at the village. So just a round of applause for everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And now we're going to do something that I think to me is just wonderful. We have a special video presentation, and we do want to also note that we have some joining us via Zoom this evening. So in the slideshow that we're going to show, and it'll be highlighting our Veterans Day as well as Diwali in Woodridge this year. So both very recent highlights in Woodridge that we're happy to share. I think it's very exciting. So thank you very much. So our first one is the veterans recognition, both from the VFW Post 1578 in Woodridge, as well as Woodridge Horizon Senior Living on James Avenue that has some senior veterans living in Woodridge. So we'll just share some slides and then we'll move on to Diwali afterwards. So I'll just read along what we had shared at the VFW event at the library. And the Woodridge community gathered on Saturday, November 11th, to honor and show appreciation and respect for our veterans. Two events were held, one at Woodridge Horizon Senior Living and one at the Woodridge Public Library. I've had the privilege to attend the Veterans Day event, but was not able to attend both. I attended the one at Woodridge Horizon, and I know many of our board members attended at the event at the Woodridge Public Library. These are wonderful, reflective, inspiring events that talk about our veterans and share, as you can see, just wonderful pictures. One, thanking them for their service, their outstanding dedication and service, and their continued service to this day here in Woodridge and far and beyond our boundaries. It's incredible. I'm so happy that we're able to recognize and also thank them as very grateful hearts as a community. So I would like to extend our thanks to the Woodridge VFW Memorial Post 1578 for their outstanding service to our country, as well as our trustees that attended the event. And I've heard from many attendees just how important this is, and it really showed how great their dedication and service is and how much they appreciate our recognition of each of our veterans. And lastly, I would like to thank all members of our community who honored our veterans in this Veterans Day to commemorate our Woodridge veterans. I know that everyone shares in great pride with me in thanking our VFW hosts for, again, their work that they have done and their service to our country. So we thank them, and we see here with respect, honor, and gratitude, thank our veterans. So thank you very much. The second, and actually we have two members, I'm going to invite them up to the podium, and not that they have to say anything, I just would like to recognize our two members of the HRAC committee. If you would please just come up to the podium, and I'm going to speak about the Diwali, and there's much more information that we can share, but this is such a special event. And if you could both just introduce yourselves and maybe how long you've lived in Woodridge and what this means to you to be part of the HRAC.
Okay, my name is Debbie Collins, and I've lived in Woodridge since 1988. And I'm very excited to be part of the HRAC just because we have the opportunity to get to know other people in our community and the cultures and the diversity that we can share.
Yeah. My name is Nan Prakash Garg. I came to US in 1995, and I've been living in Woodridge since 2011. And I lived in Lyle before that. And I grew up with Diwali from childhood when I was born. Since then, I have been celebrating this Festival of Lights. And I think it was a great honor and privilege to share our culture with our community.
Wonderful, and thank you. And thank you for being here. So some of these slides you'll be very familiar with. So here we go. So for the first time in Woodridge history, our community gathered on Sunday, November 12th to celebrate Diwali at the Fred C. Honke Community Center with attendance was full. The room was beyond full from what I've been told, and people actually waited outside in their cars to come in as people were leaving. It was that incredibly well attended, and it is a celebration of light. And I know words that I have probably would not do it justice, except that from my heart, I share that this was such a wonderful an experience from everything I've heard. Debbie shared, of course, Deepak and other members of the HRAC, Peggy, our assistant village administrator, who is the liaison for the HRAC, have all shared how incredibly moving this was. And as we go forward and look at the pictures, please know that this was with great honor that they were here in Woodridge. And as I said, for the first time, sharing Diwali with us. And I hope, and my fondest hopes, that we will continue this fine tradition, because any way that we can meet others and learn others and share such wonderful experiences such as Diwali, I think are most important for our communication. So it is my hope that this event will become an annual tradition of Woodridge. Diwali is a time for hope and celebration of light. And I probably won't do it justice, but I want to share the one word that keeps coming out whenever I hear Diwali is joy, great joy and light. And I think that that's something we can all use today. So we thank you both for your very good works and the entire HRAC committee for great service to our community and sharing this wonderful experience with us. I'd like to give you a round of applause on behalf of everyone. So thank you very much. Now we'll move to the next portion of our meeting, which are comments from the public. And first we will have a public hearing, and I want to read what will take place because the public hearing has actually been moved. So the public hearing was an annexation, rezoning, and development at 6200 Route 53 in Woodridge. And it actually is being continued. And for the benefit of those in attendance here or viewing online tonight, this meeting at home, please note the public hearing for this proposed Pulte development at 6200 Route 53 will not be heard tonight. It is being continued to our December 7th, 2023 regular village board meeting. In order to continue the agenda item to the next meeting, I'm going to ask that we take a formal action in order to do so. Therefore, may I please ask for a motion to continue the public hearing for the proposed annexation, rezoning, and development at 6200 Route 53, Woodridge, Illinois, to our next regularly scheduled village board meeting on December 7th, 2023, please. A motion?
So moved.
Heard Trustee Page, is it Trustee Blair? Okay, thank you both very much. Going to ask now if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek. Aye. Trustee Page.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you all very much. We're now going to pause to acknowledge any written public comments that have been received prior to the meeting this evening that do not relate to tonight's agenda. And if we do have some, if we could please enter those into the public record. Administrator Stonich.
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham. Members of the board, good evening. We had two comments. One was anonymous regarding Lamont Road, the office warehouse development proposal. The second public comment was from Sharon Clapez, 8205 Leewood Lane, regarding questions and concerns with respect to the village's on-street overnight parking regulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now going to ask if there is any member of the public who's here this evening who wishes to comment on an item or items not related to tonight's agenda. Members of our audience here. Thank you again for being here. We'll go ahead and move on to comments that are related to our agenda items. So we're going to pause to acknowledge any written public comment that have been received prior to the meeting that do appear on tonight's agenda. We'll enter those into the public record also. Administrator Stonich.
Thank you, Mayor. We received one anonymous public comment reference resolution 2023-90. That's the GIS contract under the omnibus. Thank you.
And now we will go ahead and ask if there's any members of the public, which we do have, Dr. Barty here, who have joined us and wish to comment on items that do appear on our agenda this evening. We welcome you.
Before you get going, over here, just before you get going, you'll have 3 minutes. Identify yourself, your name and your address.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. So for those of you I don't know personally, my name is Dr. Bardo. I own both Smart Mouth Dental and RF Janes LLC, which owns the property at 7105 Janes. And I just wanted to come here today to make myself available if there are any additional questions regarding the variance. And I also just wanted to briefly discuss a little bit with you the Little Free Library and our experience with it so far. It was installed in the early summertime, and since that time, we've only had great feedback from our patients and from other people in the community. And we have been monitoring it, and we have noticed a change in the inventory, essentially. So we know that it's being utilized greatly, and we've had a lot of donations from other people as well. With that being said, just with it, I just feel that it has been a really positive addition to our community, and I hope that you guys agree. And I just wanted to again say thank you for your consideration of the variance and for your time this evening.
Well, and we thank you very much for being here. And we'll go ahead and proceed because we're going to be voting shortly. So we thank you for being here.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Barda? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else, please? Well, again, thank you for being here this evening. We're going to move to our omnibus this evening. Going to ask, please, for a motion to approve items A and B. And so let's go ahead and do that first. So can I have a motion, please, to approve items A and B?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Krusek, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Martinez. Is there a request for any items to be separately considered this evening? Okay, seeing none or hearing none. Administrator Stonich, could you please review the items for us on the omnibus?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Cunningham, members of the board. Item A, Resolution 2023-90 is a resolution authorizing the village administrator and village clerk to execute a service provider agreement and statement of work with Municipal GIS Partners, Inc. And then item B is the resolution 2023-91, a resolution authorizing the mayor and village clerk to enter into a license agreement for use of the village's right-of-way. This agreement is with Zayo Group LLC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Krusek. Aye. Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair.
Aye.
Trustee Kagan.
Aye.
Trustee Annalise.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Now going to go ahead and move to just a comment of the mayor's report. I do not have a report this evening. I again encourage everyone to please sign up for e-news. It's a great way to stay connected to the village, all the exciting things going on and information that you would need. In addition, please check out our social media. It's just another great way to find out what's going on and be able to share thoughts and ideas that will help us be the best community that we can be. So that is my report. Administrator Stonich, how about your report, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Let me get to the first item this evening, ordinance 2023-37. An ordinance regarding the Illinois Paid Leave for All Workers Act. This proposed ordinance would exclude the Village of Woodridge's employees from the state of Illinois' approved Paid Leave for All Workers Act pursuant to its home rule authority. Assistant Village Administrator Halleck and also our Human Resources Manager Heather Hudson is also on Zoom should the board have any questions regarding this item. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to first ask board members if anyone has any questions on this item A. Any comments and questions? Thank you. So we have a request, please, for a motion to approve ordinance 2023-37. A motion, please. So moved. Thank you, Trustee Mantley. A second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Krusek. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Annalise.
Aye.
Trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
No.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next, item B, ordinance 2023-38, an ordinance granting a variation from section 9-11-7B1B1 of the zoning ordinance to increase the maximum number of permitted monument signs from 1 to 2. Approval of this ordinance would grant a variation for the allowance of a second monument sign at 7105 Janes Avenue. This is Smart Mouth Dental and Dr. Barnum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to ask for a motion, please, to approve ordinance 2023-38. A motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Martinez. A second. Second. Thank you, trustee Angeles. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none or hearing none, if the clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Kagan,
Aye.
trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek. Aye. Trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
motion passes.
Thank you very much, everyone. Congratulations, Dr. Bartle.
Thank you. Next, item C, determination of the 2023 proposed tax levy in compliance with the Truth in Taxation Act. Mayor, Finance Director John Harrington will be presenting on the tax levies this evening. In terms of the overall format, Mayor staff would propose that Director Harrington presentation cover all the tax levy items that are on the agenda, which is items C through G, sort of in a comprehensive format. And of course, field any questions the board may have as he works his way through that presentation. Then following the end of the presentation, Mayor, the board would then take each agenda item, individually, sort of one by one, seeking just overall direction from the board or consensus, not necessarily a vote for each of these items. We'd just like to start tonight's presentation with the library, and therefore we take a moment to extend a warm welcome to Woodridge Library Director Patty Nesbitt, who is here to present on their behalf. Director Harrington.
Actually, we have Darren here with us, and thank you very much, Administrator Stonich. Darren, please.
Thank you, Administrator Stonich. Good evening, Mayor and Board. Just a slight change in order of operations here is we're going to have, as Administrator Stonich pointed out, Library Director Patty Nesbitt is going to introduce the library's levy in an overview, and then I'm going to come up and introduce the 3 special service areas that we have in the village and what their 2023 recommendation is to the board. After that, Director Harrington is going to come up and talk about the village's levy and the scenarios with that. So without further ado, here's Library Director Patty Nesbitt.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Patty, and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, trustees. We're also joined tonight by our Vice President of the Library Board, Trustee Bill Thompson Jr. So thank you for inviting me to present the 2023 levy for the Woodridge Public Library. And I believe you have these numbers in front of you. We're putting forth a total levy of $4,290,826. This is a levy increase of 4.7%. And this is underneath the CPI and the tax cap, which is sitting at 5%. That's our practice. We're not required to do that, but historically, that's what we do. This is $192,616 more than last year's levy. And that will mean an average of $11 per household in an increase. This levy and the 2024 budget that it supports was approved at the Woodridge Public Library Board of Trustees meeting on September 20th, 2023. And we do put forth the levy in 3 parts. It's the general fund, which is $4,060,826. And then we have $115,000 in each of the IMRF and the FICA pieces. And shall I go ahead with this? Okay. As you know, the tax revenue accounts for almost all of our operating budget. We do have a small slice that we refer to as on this slide is miscellaneous. That has to do with donations to the library, grant So this can vary year to year depending on how some of those things go, and very small related to photocopying and other small use fees that people might incur at the library. This results in a total revenue of $4,399,025. And that's the basis for our budget. This 2024 budget breaks down into the biggest piece is always personnel. And I like to point out it's at 62%, which we've kind of held steady at. For historic comparison, in 2010, if you looked at this number, it would have been 67.5%. So although the dollars have gone up in the personnel, we really keep a tight watch on this, recognizing that it's a big expense here. But it really is a lean operation for us. We're well within the typical range for libraries our size. We provide a lot of service at this 62%, and it does cover benefits as well. Then we've got our other categories. The next biggest piece is the piece that people really see and experience, which is the programs, the materials, the items and resources that they get at the library, professional services at 9%, and then our building expenses, repair and maintenance at 8%. And in the other category, you'll find things like our technology expenses and various things. So that's the whole of what we have planned at the library with the 2023 levy and the 2024 budget. Did you have questions, or would you like me to say anything else, Mayor? What?
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for the presentation. And also, Bill, thank you very much for being here this evening. I would like to open up to the board. Any questions anyone may have? Comments, questions? Well, we thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Naisbitt. The village has 3 special service areas. As I mentioned, we have 7 Bridges, Richfield Place, and we have Timbers Edge. Each one levying its own tax levy based on stormwater improvements that are needed to fund and pay for those services. And so each year is typically what we do is the tax cap is 5%, and typically we go up to about 5% to recognize EAV growth. And so this year, that puts special service area number 1, which was established in 1989. This is our 7 Bridges area, and this levy request for 2023 is $44,515. Does have a tax rate of 0.03, which means that for a $600,000 home, you are looking at $60 of tax annually to the taxpayer. Special service area number 3 at Richfield Place was established in 1997. Levy request of $7,655 at a tax rate of 0.16. This means that for a $500,000 home, the annual tax bill for the special service area at Richfield Place is $267. And our third special service area, special service area number 5 at Timbers Edge, established in 2014. Levy request of $9,145 at a tax rate of 0.03, meaning a $500,000 home is paying $50 in tax annually. Again, these are our more or less status quo as from previous years in terms of how we apply the levy for the special service areas. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, Director Harrington is going to present the village's portion.
Thank you very much. Any questions from board members at this time?
I do have a question. On both of these, okay, so it's a $60 per household yearly, correct?
Yes.
Is that, how much is that up from last year then?
How much? Say again?
How much is that up from last year's?
It would be even with last year, based because market values have gone up. So we're projecting about 5% EAV growth. So if it's going to stay the same amount.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, please? Yes.
Why is the special service area number 3 in Richfield, the tax rate different from 7 Bridges and Timbers Edge?
The 0.16 tax rate was set forth when the special service area was created, and because it is so significantly higher than the other tax rates, the annual tax per year is greater. And we can provide more information if you want to know more about that.
Okay, thank
Sure.
you. Anyone else? Thank you very much. Director Harrington, welcome.
All right, good evening. We are going to touch base on the property tax levy. Just some general information. We're going to be looking at a couple scenarios in a couple minutes on the various options we have. One of the options is basically just doing new growth, and just for the board's information, we had about $5.2 million in new growth. And that on the levy side equates to about $12,500 or 0.37% increase. The current EAV is about $1.491 billion. And then we are estimating a 4.87% growth for the levy. As you know, the police or the tax levy does go to fund the police pension contribution. At this point, it's about 85% of the total levy needed for the police pension. So we talked about this at other meetings, and these are the 6 scenarios we kind of want to walk through, and just for the board to kind of wander through. 1 through 3 are typically things we presented in the past, and that is no levy increase at all. Doing the CPI increase, which we actually received from DuPage County, which was, I believe, 5%. And then there's new growth only. So if you see in those first 3 scenarios, I broke it out to what the levy would be, the change from last year, and the what the market value for 100,000 and the change from last year on that. So you can see, for example, if you did a no levy increase, it's the market value of 75.41, which is $2.89 less than what we did last year. We also, as part of the board study sessions, we looked at scenarios 4 and 5, which is increasing the levy by $100,000 and doing a 4.5% increase. And again, you'll see as you go to the bottom on the change in market value, the 100,000, the change in market value actually goes down 64 cents, and the 4.5% levy increases goes up 50 cents. So it's a small increase per 100,000. And then Trustee Krusek suggested to look at a scenario where we would keep the tax rate the same as what was in 22. So if you look at that, you look at it's the same amount per $100,000 market value. And then the next slide kind of shows what that looks like. So looking at these scenarios, across the top just shows the market value per 100,000. We did values from 200,000 through 600,000, and then basically what the levy increase would look like. One thing to notice, if you look at the first column is the 2022 values, and you look at the last column, keeping the rate the same, it's the same values. So if you did go with that 2022 levy rate, we would be charging the same amounts as we did in 22 based on those market values. One thing we like to look at a lot is how much of your property tax bill is the villages, and we are at 3%. Just for information, the 6 scenarios that we're presenting, no matter which one we select, we are still at the 3 cents. So it does not change that dollar bill, whether we go with scenarios 1 through 6. So at this point, what staff needs is board input onto which rate we need to add to the tax levy ordinance for the next meeting. So I'm not sure how you want to go about it, or I can certainly answer any questions if there are any questions.
If I could just make a statement again, staff is just seeking board direction on the tax levy agenda items. The board will not be taking a formal vote on these items, but rather just conveying your general direction so that staff knows which tax rate to publish in the tax levy ordinance for our December board meeting. So I think I'm going to ask Attorney Pat just for some direction.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question?
Please, absolutely,
Will
Trustee
you go
Page.
back one slide?
Of course.
I think I just don't understand the math. So if you increase the levy by $100,000, choice number 4, How does it decrease the village bill, bottom column, 64 cents?
So it incorporates, we have the EAV went up 4.87%. So that it changes the calculations as your EAV goes up, it kind of plays with the rate. So that's why you have the decrease in the market value over 100,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Trustee Page. Anyone else, please? Any questions?
Madam Mayor,
Please, Trustee Cruz.
can you go forward?
Of course.
Thank you. In looking at the 2022 levy rate on the far right, if we were to use that, the numbers are the same as the prior year, but would that be a $600,000 home from 2022? Now it's going to change because it's going to be worth $640,000 in 2022.
Correct. We don't know what each property will go up. So we are truly thinking that's flat. So if your property appreciated, it would be a.
If it goes up, you're going to pay more no matter.
Exactly,
what.
of course.
And the second question I had on that is, does that incorporate the new growth? Is that?
It does. All these.
The total EAV is included.
Yes, sir. We incorporated the new growth in all these.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Krusek. Anyone else, please? Bring it back, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that the best way to proceed is to have Administrator Stonich read out each of the individual items and then ask if certainly for items C through well, I guess it's not all exact order. I'm sorry. Items D through G, whether the which is the library levy as well as the 4 special service areas, whether the board's direction is to accept the village's and the library's recommendation. With respect to item 10C, which is the village levy, I believe Director Harrington is going to ask, there's sort of specific points where we're going to seek board direction, more individualized. So I think I'll turn it over to Administrator Stonich for a recitation of D through G, and just to get informal, not a formal vote, but board direction relative to the village's recommendation and the library's recommendation for items D through G. Administrator Stonich. You may not be with us.
You're muted, I believe.
Oh, you know if he was still on.
Thank you. My apologies. Item D, determination of the 2023 proposed property tax levy in compliance with the Truth in Taxation Act. It's the library levy. This proposed levy for the Woodridge Public Library, again, is $4,290,826. This is a 4.74% increase from the prior year. Mayor was seeking just general consensus from the board to accept the recommendation.
Thank you very much. Again, this is just your direction at this time, please, each board member. Going to start with Trustee Kagan, please.
I'm prepared to accept the recommendation of staff.
As am I.
Same.
Same.
Oops, sorry.
Ditto. Okay. I think we're good on that one. Thank you.
Okay. Next item, Mayor, yes?
Yes, please.
Yep, thank you. Item E, determination of the 2023 proposed property tax levy in compliance with the Truth in Taxation Act. This is Special Service Area number 17 Bridges. This proposed levy for Special Service Area number 1 is $44,515. This is a 4.98% increase from the 2022 levy extension. This will be lowered if necessary, but not to exceed the allowable tax of 0.03 per $100 of equalized assessed valuation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to go ahead and just again look for your direction, please. And this time I'm going to ask Trustee Blair, please, first.
I'm okay with it.
Trustee Martinez,
I'm fine with it.
Trustee Anthony.
I agree.
Yes.
Ditto.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. Administrator Stonich.
Thank you. Next item F, determination of the 2023 proposed property tax levy in compliance with the Truth in Taxation Act. This is a Special Service Area number 3 for Richfield Place. This property tax levy for Special Service Area number 3 is $7,655. This is a 4.97% increase. This amount may be adjusted as necessary to stay at the limit of 16 cents per $100 of equalized assessed valuation.
Thank you very much. Trustee Krusek, we'll start with you, please.
I'm good with that.
Thank you. Trustee Page?
Yes.
Trustee Angeles?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Blair?
Yes.
And Trustee Kagan?
Yes.
Thank you. Administrator Stonich?
Thank you. Item G, determination of the 2023 proposed property tax levy in compliance with the Truth in Taxation Act. This is Special Service Area Number 5, Timbers Edge. The 2023 property tax levy for Special Service Area Number 5 is $9,145. In order to capture all new growth within this SSA, pardon me, tax rate will not exceed 3 cents per $100 of equalized assessed valuation of all properties within this special service area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to start with Trustee Angeles, please.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Blair?
Yes.
Trustee Page?
Yes.
Trustee Krusek?
Yes.
Trustee Kagan?
Yes.
Dr. Harris?
Okay, well, back to the main event. So for the village property tax levy, what staff needs is, I guess, consensus on which rate to go forward with. And I don't know if anyone wants, if we want to go down the line or if anyone has general thoughts. I'm open to suggestions.
Madam Mayor, quick question. And the 2022 all the way to the far right, that captures new growth.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Correct.
And that accounts for the change in the
Yes.
total levy.
Yes, it does.
Any other questions to start? So I think, is it maybe good to go to each trustee and have them maybe share where you're at if you feel comfortable, if you're ready to do that? Trustee Krusek, may I start with you, please?
Sure, I would be okay with the 2022 levy rate, number 6.
Number 6. Trustee Kagan?
While I agree with Trustee Krusek's point, I'm concerned about capturing the CPI, so I would look at the CPI increase.
Trustee Page?
I lean toward the 2022 levy rate because it captures the new growth. I have another question, forgive me. How come the amounts, if we're capturing new growth, why is there such a big difference between the 12,500 option 4 and the 2022 levy at 128? If the levy remains flat, that's a 5% difference?
So going into the levy, we're actually saying we're going to ask for that $12,500 more. So we're dropping that number in as this is the amount we're asking for, which is going to change the values of everything else. So
the respective okay.
Yes, we're going in saying this is the dollar amount we want, and then the rates calculate from there.
Okay.
Any other questions, or is that good? Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Trustee Blair?
I agree with Trustee Krusek, number 6.
Thank you. Trustee Martinez
2022 6.
and Trustee Angeles? 2022. Thank you.
All right, that is consensus that we need. Thank you very much.
First, thank you very much to you and the entire finance team in the Village of Woodridge, every department. The budget season takes every hand as a component and working very diligently to provide so much information. I also thank the village board for their diligence with regards to just an enormous amount of information and detail work. So thank you very much on behalf of our neighbors throughout Woodridge and the Village of Woodridge itself. We appreciate very much your good works, and it's months of work. So
Thank you.
all very much.
And there's a couple just quick slides. This just shows the debt service that we're going to abate.
Okay, thank
So
you.
this is just information we show every year. So it's the $2.4 million. And then next steps, this will be on the December 21st board meeting for approval. And then after the passage of the levies, we'll also do the abatements the same evening. So that is all I have. Thank you very much.
Very much. I'm going to ask if any board members have any questions at this time. Any follow-up, any new questions? Thank you very much,
you.
Director Harrington. And if there is no further business to discuss this evening, first of all, I'd like to make sure that everyone, please take good care and do stay connected to the Village of Woodridge. It's very important that one, you hear from us and we hear from you. It's so important to all of us in the good works that we try to continue to do and provide to every neighbor, every business in Woodridge. Lots of exciting news that we shared this evening. We hope that you've enjoyed us sharing a little bit more about all the activities that we have going on in Woodridge and continue to build on. We're very proud of that, but we have so much else to share, like our new police and public works facilities. More information will be coming out on that, as well as an invitation to our community to join us in spring to celebrate. Again, thank you very much to our HRAC group and committee for all of their diligent, great works. So very proud of everything that our village is doing and our best to everyone. Do stay connected again, either through social media or our e-news, which comes out every Friday. Very easy to sign up for that. And I know someone had asked me, if you live in a different community, can you sign up for our e-news? And I said, absolutely. Make it contagious. Again, with no further business to discuss this evening, I'm going to ask please for a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees for the Village of Woodridge. A motion?
So moved.
Trustee Krusek, a second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Martinez. All those in favor, sign on.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. It is 8:03 p.m. and we are adjourned. Please take good care.